Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the last trailer or major update trailer of the year for War Thunder. And it's a doozy. There's a bunch of really cool stuff in here. The update name is Line of Contact. And with the update trailer coming out today, looks like we're probably going to have the sneak peek streams tomorrow. We'll have the dev servers as well. And don't worry, we'll cover all of it for you on this channel. So if you want to see it, make sure to subscribe. Also like the video because there's a lot of stuff coming. There's an insane amount of stuff in this trailer. Not just vehicles, not just maps, but also new game modes, such as Infantry is coming to War Thunder. A Christmas present from Gaijin, which, you know, we've dabbled a little bit when it comes to leaks and stuff like that, but you see more of the action in this one. So if you want to see the trailer for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description. Highly recommend it. It's a really good trailer. Music is bopping. Everything's great. Of course, I can't deal with the music on this channel, copyright issues, but we'll go through what's in the trailer and also talk about it. So we start off looking at the new hangar. This was in a dev blog today. Obviously talked about what's kind of going on with it. And you can see it's one of our favored sons. The vomit in chief, it is indeed the Ajax. Now, the Ajax is one of those vehicles that is going through a ton of problems in real life, but in War Thunder, hopefully it won't have those problems. It would be funny if they actually made it realistic. So if you go into the driver's view, your driver's view just goes, and then you just end up having headaches and vomiting. But, you know, that wouldn't really be too fair. But our first vehicle right up is the Ajax, the British AFV, which is coming into the game. This is an incredibly modern vehicle, has access to a 40mm, and is obviously the vehicle that is designed to replace stuff like the Warrior, for example, even though it keeps going in and out of service because of the fact that it keeps murdering its own crew. But the main thing is you can see the hangar which is going around. This is the new kind of ground hangar area. This is specifically going to be like where the premium stuff is, where you click on and go see it. And then also the air hangar, which is this one right here. Remember, when it comes to the hangars, what they're trying to do with them is they're trying to make them actually alive. So things moving around, whether it be like the crew, whether it be like the planes with like the propellers and their flaps and everything, they're trying to make it actually feel like stuff is going on instead of everything being stationary, and I think that's really cool. Second vehicle we have here, FR1 Fireball. Pretty sick, to be honest, to see this vehicle. It is incredibly sick that it's a premium, though. Wish it wasn't. I would actually have really enjoyed to play this, but being a premium, it's not really in my wheelhouse. There's not really much point in me playing it. But you can once again see the internal hangar where the premium stuff is going to be. And what this means is when you put down like the vehicles, you'll be able to see all of the armaments around it, which will be really cool. We also have a look at updated Winter Poland. They updated Poland more recently, and then they've added updated Poland in. They also show a story about a boy going into the stars, wanting to join the cosmonauts. And I, first of all, when I saw this, I was like, oh, they're probably talking about like Cosmonautics Day, or maybe they're adding in satellites or something like that, which would be kind of crazy. But no, it is a vehicle which many have looked forward to for a long time. And that vehicle, as you will see very soon, is a Russian beauty. It is one that scared the living shit out of the Americans until they kind of were able to get their hands on one, and then were like, oh, okay, this isn't that good. But of course, it is the MiG-25. The MiG-25 is coming into the game, and it's going to be one of the later versions of it. So it's going to be one of the ones which was actually a little bit more useful in terms of it, in terms of the whole game. One of the problems that the MiG-25 had is it had huge issues with reliability. It could not stay in the air for too long. And then also the other part of it, which is incredibly important, is its turning circle and the weaponry that it had access to. The MiG-25 as a vehicle is pretty simple. It is a vehicle designed for high altitude interception or bombers, which, guess what, in War Thunder we don't really have right now. But the later variants of the MiG-25 didn't just use the R-40s, which are these that you can see here, which are these large missiles designed to go pretty far at high speed, but not very maneuverable, because once again, they're designed to go after bombers. It also does have the R-60s, so you will at least have some kind of short-range setup. Other people believe this is going to be the winter event vehicle. You can also see on this other shot that it does have access to some different weapons. You can see them right here. These, once again, look very similar to the R-40s. But the main thing is we're getting a MiG-25, which many people have been like, you know what? That's what I want to see in the game. And that's what you're going to get. So the MiG-25's turning up in a big way, probably in the form of a later variant, maybe like the PD or PT, and then it will be actually kind of useful. Then we have an Su-25 just getting annihilated. I don't know why, but it's being annihilated by a J-10. Maybe it's signs to come. Actually, is that an aardvark that has been hit? What even is getting hit here? Okay, this is an aardvark, so this is getting hit by the MiG-25. But then when it switches frame, it's an Su-25, which is getting downed by a J-10. The other thing I also want to note is if you have a look at the splash here on the ocean, it just looks really cool. Like, I know in the freeze frame it looks a little bit odd, but if you just play it, you can see how nice it looks when the Su-25 hits it. And I just wonder if that's going to be something that we see across the board. So we have a new version of the J-10. One of the big things that is happening in terms of the next update is an expansion of top tier air, something that's been happening for the last 2 or 3 years. And the J-10C looks like it's coming in for the Chinese. This has an updated radar, should have updated armaments, and generally just has updated a lot of other things, so it'll just have a great arsenal around it. We also get our first proper view of the DBLK. Oh my god, this vehicle is ridiculous. So this was a prototype Russian bomber, which came out late 1930s, early 1940s. You can see it actually has 2 cockpits. One of them has the pilot in it. The other one has access to the navigator bombardier. And then in the back, you actually have some turrets. These turrets actually rotate, similar to the Fokker that you see in the Dutch tech tree. It also has some chassis, which it has here. And then also a lot of well, not a lot of bombs, but a large amount of bombs that it can bring along. So after that part with the DBLK, you then go into this area with the Americans. And with the Americans, you also have a bunch of stuff which is going on. You have the Super Hornets, which are alive and well. Looks like it's going to be the FA-18E with some liveries, some camouflages, and also a bunch of other stuff which is happening. The FA-18E should be very fun, should have a lot of AMRAAMs, should have a bunch of different stuff. And that basically means that what you're going to see with this vehicle is you're just going to see a massively upgraded version of the Hornet that may actually be the 14.0-14.3 with the updated RWR, updated radar, and also updated weaponry, since it is one of the most modern versions of the Hornet that the Americans use in their naval forces. We also have access to not just vehicles, not just new visuals on maps. We also have access to an Apache, which we've seen before. So it isn't a huge deal, but they actually do show some kind of voice lines, which are pretty fun here. And they're going into an area, you know, rocket pods in, and they're just going to annihilate whatever is in front of them. And then what is really interesting is I looked at this and I went, I know this. This is active matter. There is literally a map in active matter which has that building in the middle of it. And it's the PvE mission. It's the one we have to escape from Dogorsk. And I was like, what the hell is this doing here? Because obviously across maps and across things like Gaijin share stuff, right? Because that's how they sort it out. And I was like, okay, so, and then there's infantry. Oh, that's how it is it? All right, well, it looks like the leaks were true. Looks like infantry is coming to War Thunder, and it's coming in a big way. We have what looks like RPGs. We have a bunch of different guns across the place. We have also not just standard kind of assault rifles. There is a bunch of different scopes. There's a bunch of different things. There's a bunch of like thermal scopes that are in here too, and also a bit of friendly fire from the chopper too. So what we're going to see is just another expansion in War Thunder. You know, you guys who've been asking for more of these game modes, for more things going on. Well, you're going to get your wish. You're going to get an absolutely insane infantry section, which will not just have access to all of the vehicles. It looks like you're going to get a bunch of infantry too. And the difference between this and the April Fool's trailer is this one actually has gameplay in it, which is very different compared to what we've seen previously. You can see also that there are drones. The FPV drones are coming in to annihilate stuff, and this poor soldier right here is actually trying to shoot it to no avail, and it's able to blow up the Abrams, which is there. I really want to see how this goes. I'm a bit worried about infantry versus vehicles. You know, it's never really worked very well when it comes to War Thunder, but who knows? Maybe it's different. They also do a nice homage here to Saving Private Ryan, which is cool to see. Highly recommend watching that movie if you haven't, by the way. But at the end of it, he's the officer who's sent to find Ryan actually ends up shooting a tiger with his pistol, and then it explodes because I think it gets hit by a plane. So a nice little homage there. Really cool to actually see that. They've added it. But it's going to be good old America versus Russia, or as we've seen in as we've seen in every other game recently, PMC versus PMC. The private military companies or corporations going against each other, because we're not allowed to say nations versus nations anymore. Then we have a few other vehicles. The Booker, the M10 Booker, the fat light tank. The kind of, well, it's not a light tank, I shouldn't call it that, but it's basically more of an assault gun platform for the Americans, but it didn't get into service because it's too fat. Because they wanted a lighter platform. It wasn't really designed for the training areas that they had, so it ended up, unfortunately, losing out to nothing. It lost out against itself. The M10 Booker has a 105mm. It will have all of the bells and whistles you would want from this type of vehicle. It will have very good optics, good mobility, and also a 50 cal, which always helps. It also seems to have a little bit of additional armor on it, which will give it, unfortunately, extra weight. Hopefully you can take that off, which would be really cool. Then we just have the FR1 Fireball in action, just with its rockets. J10 using some guided munitions. You can see here that these are actually the bombs which actually the fins extends and they can like glide in and hit stuff. And then it has the targeting pod. It can only carry 2 though, which is a lot less than the standards. Then you have, once again, just a J10 and the Ajax going into battle. Haha. Go after everybody and get annihilated. This vehicle, I'm pretty sure, is this the S? No, this is the Hornet, sorry. This is the Hornet firing off some Mavericks into the ground. I wonder if we'll get any new versions of the Maverick. Probably not, right? I feel like we have most of them, which are coming in. And then also, we have the Booker, which is a nice look at. I actually kind of really like this side shot of the Booker. There you go. That's what it looks like. Looks pretty sick, actually, at the end of the day. And even though it's not going to make it in service yet, maybe it will in the future. So, we have a random Russian boat. Fantastic. Love random Russian boats. There's already a million of them. I would highly recommend looking at the event boat, by the way. It's just very, very, very powerful. With the very good autocannon on it. And then, of course, we have a vehicle that kind of lives in infamy. The BMPT Terminator. Now, according to the leaks, there was 2 of these coming in. The standard BMPT and also the BMPT 72. One of them is based on the T72 chassis. The other one more on a T90 chassis. But you can see it has 2 30mm and also it has the AT gems on it. Now, one of the interesting things about the BMPT, which is not going to be in War Thunder is whenever these guns actually fire together, if you've ever seen the videos, they straight up just like wobble all over the place, and it's just really funny. But unfortunately in War Thunder, that's not going to happen because they're not gonna make this thing worthless. They're gonna make it pretty good. So we might get some new ATGMs on this vehicle. But the major thing about this platform is it will have very good optics, and also it will have very good ATGMs and very annoying guns, which maybe they'll give APF SDS, which would be incredibly annoying. And the major thing, though, is it will be a decent platform. I feel like Russia has a lot of light vehicles at the high tiers, which are pretty good. This vehicle is kind of in the middle in terms of it still being quite well armored, and also having that gun kind of automated turret on the top of it, meaning that the survivability will come from that. The Booker again, the Hornet, the good old Terminator, the Dakota, which has come into another big battleship that is coming to America. And then also, as you can see on the side there, it did say something interesting. I think it said Prince of Wales, which is what it did. So the British are also getting one of their large battleships at the same time. So as you can tell by this trailer, there's a lot going on in this update. It seems like Gaijin have saved the best till last. And this update will fill a lot of people full of the content that they've been looking for this whole year. The MiG-25 infantry game modes. You also have access to a bunch of different light tanks, the Ajax, the BMPTs, the Booker, and then also stuff like the Super Hornet and the J10C. In this update, there's something for everybody, whether it's quality of life updates like the Hangar or many others. And we'll make sure to have a look at it all for you as we go along. An amazing trailer, really cool to see. And I'm really interested to see what the next step of War Thunder is going to look like. Look after yourselves. Peace be with you. Let me know what you thought about the trailer. And I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.